Hey everybody, Puzzle Max here, and now it's time we take a look at the crazy 3x3 Earth puzzle. This is probably my favorite in the series. All of these are great, but this was the first one that I learned to solve, so it's got a kind of special place in my heart. On this one, we've got two 1 faces and 4 0 faces. Again, the 0 faces are the ones where the centers don't rotate when you turn a face, and the 1 faces are the ones where that center rotates with the face. On this one, the 1 faces are adjacent, the white face and the green face. This solve is very similar to the Venus and the Mercury. It uses a lot of the same techniques and same moves, but because you've got these 1 faces adjacent, it does involve some different setup moves and a little more creativity with placing some of the pieces and what order you need to place some of these pieces in order to make it so that you have as much freedom as possible when moving other things. This one isn't terribly difficult, but it is, in my opinion, a little tougher than both the Mercury and the Venus puzzles. It's a lot of fun, so let me go ahead and scramble this up and we'll get started. All scrambled up and ready to go. So the first thing you want to do here is get all of the inside edge pieces on each face solved. Because your 1 faces are adjacent on this puzzle, the white and green, it's best to start by solving the yellow face. That's opposite one of your 1 faces. So I'm going to solve the inside edge pieces on this yellow face first. Take advantage of the 1 face so that I can move these around. I'm just going to place them pretty intuitively. So this one I can just move straight down into place there. And this one here I can just move straight down into place there. So let's see. I don't have any more on the top, so I don't have any more that I can just rotate and move down. I've got this one here on the red face. I'm just going to bring this up to the white face and get it out of the way. Do a edge piece series here. So bring that up, replace it, new one down. This one, now that it's on the top, I can just move it straight down to here with a double turn on that blue face. Now, here's a situation that you may not have seen on the Mercury or the Venus puzzles yet. Because the 1 faces are adjacent on this puzzle, a lot of these pieces on the top face, can come out of orbit, as well as these pieces on the bottom layer. So every piece on these faces can come out of orbit and move around. So this piece here, I can't rotate the blue face. So what I need to do is move this to the green face, just with a double turn there. And now here, I can do a setup move and then an edge piece series to get this on the top so that I can then turn it down to the yellow face where it belongs. So my setup move here is just going to be a front turn on this green face. That took one of the yellow pieces that I had attached to the yellow center out of place. So I have to remember to put that back after I get this where I want it. So this one here on the green face, I'm just going to bring up to the white face with an edge piece series. So right, up, right inverse, up inverse. Now it's up there. And now I have to undo the setup move that I did on the green face to put this yellow one back on the yellow face. And now that I have this last one on the white face, I can just move it above where it needs to go and do a turn on that face and put it into place. So now that's all where it needs to be. Now for the rest of these, I'm going to do this by holding my 1 faces as the front and the top. This is going to give me the most freedom with placing things, but it's also going to help me keep track of where faces are and how things are allowed to move. So my 1 faces are my front and my up, and the first 2 pieces I want to place are the equator inside edge pieces on the orange and red that are closest to the green face. I want to place those first so that I don't have to worry about moving this later and then potentially messing up something else. So this one here, I have a red on top, so I'm just going to take this green one, move it up, put this red one in its place, and move that back down. So that's done. And then I have an orange one on the top. I'm going to move this green space up here and move this orange one down here with an edge piece series. So now that those are done, I know that any other faces that I turn are going to be zero faces. So if I turn this red face, I know it's a zero face. It's not going to move anything. This blue face, if I turn that, it's not going to move anything. And this orange face, if I turn that, it's not going to move anything. This helps me just keep track of these pieces being safe, and I know that I'm run a far less chance of messing them up later on. So now that I know where my one faces are sitting, now I can turn the puzzle and place the remaining inside edge pieces on the equator around the puzzle here. So let's go over here. I've got a red one on the white face, which is a one face. So I'm going to use this here and do an edge piece series. Bring this up, bring this over, and bring it back down. Again, because this is a zero face, I don't run the risk of messing anything up over here. I don't have any blue pieces up on top, so I'm not going to worry about fixing that yet. And my orange ones are already good to go. Now, even though I have two inside edge pieces on my one face, my white one face, that are green, I'm not going to worry about fixing these yet. I'm going to save the green face and the white face for last. That way I can have as much freedom in moving those pieces as possible. So I don't have the equator of this blue face complete yet. But I do have a blue piece on the green face, which means I can move that blue piece by turning this green face. So what I'm going to do is a setup move, get this blue piece onto the white face, and then undo that setup move. Because I've already placed this orange inside edge and this red inside edge, I have to make sure that I put whatever I move to the top back before I undo that setup move. So easier to see here than it is to say. So I'm going to move this green face so that I can turn this blue piece to the top. So I'm going to turn that way. It took that orange piece that was correct off of the face that it needs to be on. So I have to make sure that I put it back into this position before I undo that setup move. So now I'm going to bring this blue one up to the top and use a piece up here that isn't already correct. So this orange piece, when I undo the setup move, is correct. So I don't want to use this piece in my edge piece series. So I'm going to bring this blue one up, replace it with this green one, and then undo that U-turn. So now when I undo the setup move, it puts that orange back and it puts the red back. And now I have a blue piece on this one face that I can use to fix this inside edge piece on the blue face. So I'm going to move this up, bring that blue piece around, and bring it back down. And again, because these are zero faces here and zero faces here, I don't run the risk of messing up the equator that I've already solved on those. So now, ignoring the green and ignoring the white, I've got the equator on these three faces complete, and my yellow cross is still done on the bottom. Next up, I need to fix the top and bottom inside edge pieces on all three of these remaining faces. Now, normally, you'd have on the other two puzzles that I've done, the Mercury and the Venus, you wouldn't have to worry about these two pieces because they wouldn't be able to change orbit. On this puzzle, because you have adjacent one faces, these up and down pieces can change orbit. So what I need to do here, in order to fix this orange piece, for example, is I need to get this position onto a one face so that I can change this position to a spot where I can do an edge piece series with this top face. So this setup move is very simple, but it is something you have to keep track of. So first thing I'm going to do is turn this bottom face so that that red piece, that red slot, which belongs here, is on the green face, which is a one face, and I know I can turn this. Then I'm going to do a setup move and replace this red piece with this orange piece with a three cycle edge piece series. And then I have to undo the setup move here and then undo the setup move at the bottom that I did. So the setup move here is I'm just going to turn this. That brings the red piece that was here from the equator up to the top. So I have to make sure and put that back before I undo that setup move. Now I'm going to do an edge piece series, which is going to bring this red up to here, this green is going to go across to here, and this orange is going to come down here. where I need it to be. So right, up, up, right inverse, and then up, up. And now I have to undo that setup move that I did to bring this red back where it belongs, which is also going to repair the yellow and the orange. And then the other setup move that I did was to bring this piece over to the green face, so I can just turn this down to bring that back. So now my orange inside edges are complete. So let's see what else we got. I have a red inside edge on the white face that I can use, and this position on the red face needs to be solved. So very similar, just going to go the other direction this time though. So I'm going to bring this blue position over to the green face so that I can turn it. Now I can't turn it this way, because if I do, then it makes it difficult to use this red piece in a 3-cycle that'll come down to here. So I'm just going to do it the opposite direction. I'm going to turn this position up to this, keeping in mind that I need to put this piece back here so that when I undo that setup move, it repairs everything. And now I'm going to do the same 3-cycle just on the left-hand side. So bring this blue up, bring this around, bring the red piece back down, and then bring this back around. Now that orange piece is back here, so I can undo that setup move that I did. And now when I undo the bottom turn that I did, it'll fix the red that I was trying to repair, and it also brings the orange inside edge pieces back where they belong. So up next, I've got this piece on the blue face. It's the last one that I need to do. So I can bring this all the way around to this position. So if I just do 2 U-turns, it'll bring that around to there. And now very similar, I need to bring this position to a spot where I can 3-cycle it with this top face. So I'm going to bring this position over to here, being mindful of this red piece that needs to go back down here when I undo that setup turn. So now I'm going to use this piece, and this piece to do a 3-cycle. So bring this up, bring this blue piece around, and then bring it down, and then bring this top face back around so that the red piece is where it needs to be, so that when I undo that setup move, that's back where it belongs, that's back where it belongs, and the yellow face is good. And now I can undo the turns that I did on the top face to bring this position onto the green face. So now all of the inside pieces on my blue are done as well. One other situation that you might run into here, let me just set it up really quickly. Is this type of case, where I have this position that I need to fix on the red face. All of my orange pieces are done, all of my blue pieces are done, but this position is what I need to fix. So if I bring this position over to the green face so that I can rotate it, you'll see that the red piece that I need to put here is directly above where it needs to go. So if I do a setup move here, it doesn't help any, because now it takes that red piece off of this top one face that I need to use. If you come across a situation like this, it's very easy to fix. Because I haven't been trying to fix any of my green inside edges or any of my white inside edges at this point, I can just do a 3-cycle with the green or the white, whatever I have in these positions to begin with, to move this red piece to any of these other positions on the top face. So if I just do a right, up, right inverse, up inverse, now when I turn this position over to the green face so that I can use it, now that red is no longer attached directly to this piece. So now I can just do the setup move like that, being mindful of this red piece, which needs to come back down to here. So I need to use this red piece in my 3-cycle. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring this red piece across to here, bring it back down, and now I'm going to bring the top face all the way around so that when I undo my setup move, it fixes that, my yellow face is still good, and now I can undo that setup move on the top face that I did. So now my red is good, blue is good, orange is good, and the last thing I need to do is fix the white and the green. This is a great step because since you have a 0 face here and a 0 face here, you don't have to worry about right hand or left hand turns messing up anything that you've already solved on either of those faces. As long as you do a turn, replace it with something, and then undo that turn on either the right or left face, you're not going to risk messing up anything on the bottom, back, right, or left. So I just need to get all of these inside edge pieces matched to the correct centers. So I have a white here, I can bring this up and bring this green one down to here. So right, up inverse, right inverse, up. And here's another good case that you might come across, either while fixing these or while fixing these two faces. This is another spot where I need to move this into one of these positions so that I can turn it up to the top face. But if I do that, it takes the green piece that I want to put back here off of the top face. This is also very easy. I'm just going to bring this green piece up to here, this white one over to here, and this green one is going to come back down to here. That's going to leave this green piece in this, or this green piece rather, in this position so that when I do a setup move, I can use the same 3-cycle, the edge piece 3-cycle that I've been doing. So this green one up to here, replace it with this green one, bring it back down, and bring this back around. Now when I do a setup move, I can bring this over to this position. And again, being mindful of my setup moves, I just need to remember to put this orange back here so that when I undo that front turn, it'll fix everything. I'm going to replace this white one up to here. This white one is going to go across to here, and this green one is going to come down here. So bring that up, bring this green one around to that position, undo that turn, and then bring this orange one back around here. And now I can undo my setup move that I did on the front face, which will fix everything. And now all of my inside edges on the white, on the green, both of my one faces, all of those are done, and all of the inside edges on the remaining 4 faces that are 0 faces are also complete. So the next step here is going to be fixing the outside edges on all of these faces. This one works very similarly to the Mercury and Venus cubes, but it does take a little bit of a different approach so that you don't risk messing things up as you go. So hold tight, we'll get to that in a second. Now we go ahead to fix the outside edge pieces on all of these faces. For this, you have to be mindful that what I'm going to use is a down, down, up, up edge piece series that's going to move this outside edge to here, this outside edge to here, and this outside edge over to here. But I have to make sure that I only do this series on 2 adjacent 0 faces. Because if I do it on a 0 face here, and a 1 face here, it's going to move the inside edge pieces with it as well. So for example, if I do it here with a 1 face and a 0 face, not only is it going to move the outside edges, but you'll see that it also takes some of the inside edges with it. So I don't want to do those there, but if I do that same series with a 0 face and another 0 face, now I can see that this orange and blue is going to come down to here, this blue and yellow is going to come up here, and this orange and yellow is going to come across to here. So if I just go down, down, up, up, it moved those 3 outside edges and didn't mess up any of the inside edge pieces that were already correct. So because of that, I want to fix the outside edges on the 1 faces as best I can, because that will leave me the most freedom of 0 faces possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is fix the outside edges, all 4 outside edges on this white face. So I'm going to put that on the bottom and put the other 1 face, the green face, on the back. So now I know that I can use the right face, the front face, the left face, and the up face in those 3 cycles. So let's see what I've got here. Up here I have the orange and white. It needs to go onto this orange face and down here. So if I bring this over to here, I can just bring it straight down, but that moves some of the inside edges. So what I need to do here is bring this position up to the top face. So bring that up. Now I want to put this orange piece, orange and white piece, over here attached so that the outside edge white meets up with the inside edge white, and then undo that double turn that I did here first to bring that back down, and then undo that turn. So it hasn't messed up any of my inside edges, but now the outside edge, orange and white, is attached. Same thing here, I've got the orange and white ready to go over here. So I'm going to bring this position up to the top, put that orange and white attached where it should be, making sure the colors match, undo that, and bring this back around. So now the red and white is attached like it should be. Next up, I've got this blue and white. So here, if I do the same thing that I've been doing, so move that away from the blue face for now, I can use U-turns as much as I want here, because as long as I don't turn any of the one faces, it's not going to mess up the inside edges. I can always put them back. So I'm just going to put this out of the way for now. If I bring this position up to the top face, like I did for the other two, and then put this where it's supposed to be, you'll see that it's upside down. That's not the way I want it to go. So what I need to do here is just bring this position up to here and this piece down to here so that the blue matches up with the blue. So I'm going to go up, down, down, up. It keeps all of the inside edges where they were, but now this outside edge is correct. So let's see, where is my white and green outside edge? It's hanging out here. This is where you have to be careful, because if you get clumsy and start using the one face to move things around, you're also going to take inside edge pieces along with it. It's just the way it's going to happen. So even though I could just turn this up on the one face, it's not the way I'm allowed to do it, because it's going to mess up some other stuff on the puzzle. So what I need to do is take this green and white up to this yellow face, but I need to use a zero face to do it. So I'm going to use this orange face to bring this up here. I'm going to get it out of the way. I'm going to put this green piece back, and now I'm going to put these other inside edge pieces back where they belong. So now I've got the green and white inside edge piece, outside edge piece available on the top face here. So let's see what we've got here. Again, because I can't use this one face, I can't just bring this around, bring this in, and then put this back. I have to do this only using zero faces. So if I take this position that I'm trying to fix and bring it up to the orange face, it'll put the white here. That means that when I bring this all the way around to here, this position, all the way around to here on a zero face, I can put this green and white outside edge here, and when I undo that first move, the white is going to line up with the white. So that first setup move is just what I have to be mindful of. I have to be sure to undo that correctly. So I'm going to bring that up here. Now I'm going to bring this position all the way around to here. I'm going to bring this green and white outside edge down. I'm going to undo the move that I did here, and then undo this move. So all of my inside edges are over here are safe, and I've paired that green and white outside edge up with the correct colors. So now when I undo this turn, it puts that back where it's supposed to be. And now all I've got left to do is a rotation on the top face to repair the inside edges on the top here. Next up, I want to fix the outside edges on the green and orange and green and red. For the same reason here, so that I can avoid turning this green face in the future. So I want to get as much of this done as I possibly can. So let's see here. Where do I have I have the green and red up here on the yellow. So if I bring this over to the front, just so I have something to use, something to look at, if I bring this down to here, it lines up with the red. So since I know that the red is a zero face and that the blue is a zero face, I can bring this position, which is where this edge piece needs to go, I'm going to bring this position over to here so that when I bring this down, the red lines up with the red, and then I can undo this turn and put it where it belongs. So I'm going to bring this position all the way over to here. I'm going to bring this red and green piece down. I'm going to bring this all the way back around, and then I'm going to undo that turn. So now that's where it belongs. Now here I have the orange and green, which I'm trying to place over here, already in a place that I can't turn with the up face. So I'm going to bring it with that same 3 cycle, the down, down, up, up. I'm going to bring it to the top face. So I'm just going to go down, down, up, up. Again, being mindful that I only do that using 0 faces as my turns. So now that that's up here, let's see what I can do. Well, if I bring this with this 0 face here down to the orange, it doesn't line up. The green is not lining up with the orange center. So the easiest fix for this is to just do another 3 cycle that'll bring this over to here, but it'll flip it as well. So if I bring this down first, put this in that position, bring it back up, and then bring this back up. Now if I rotate this top face, which I know I can do freely because it's a 0 face, if I bring this over to here, now when I bring this green and orange piece down, the orange lines up with the orange center, which is what I need to happen. So now I can bring this position all the way around to here, put this in that position, the green lines up, undo the first set of moves that I did here, bring this all the way back around, and then undo the turn that I did here. And now that orange and green is where it belongs. I can fix these inside edge pieces on the top by just rotating the top. And you'll see now that I have the green and red outside edge, the green and orange outside edge, and through doing all of that, I didn't mess up any of the white outside edges that I had already placed. Now I want to fix either one of these remaining 2 outside edges on the equator. So still keeping my yellow face as the top, I'm going to fix either one of these. I don't care which one, doesn't matter. So let's see which one's going to be the easiest. Let's bring this orange and blue around. So I'm going to line the orange up with the orange center and just go down, down, up, up to bring that into place. So down, down, up, up. Now that orange and blue outside edge is paired up where it's supposed to be. So I can just bring this top face all the way back around to keep those inside edges in a comfortable spot. Now here, what I'm going to do is use this as an empty slot to fix some of the outside edges on this yellow face. The first 2 that I want to fix are the ones opposite this position. So I'm going to fix this one and this one. So I need to fix the yellow and green and the yellow and orange. In order to do that, the first thing I want to do is have one of those pieces in this position. So my yellow and green piece is back here, but it's upside down. So I'm going to bring this around to here and just do an edge piece series with this outside edge on 2 adjacent 0 faces. So down, down, up, up, and now I'm going to undo this turn just to keep things where they belong. This is a situation where you really have to be mindful of these inside edges now that you're looking to fix this top layer so that you don't put things lined up correctly with the yellow but not lined up correctly with the other colors around it. So now this yellow and green, which I have here, I'm going to bring this around. If I put it there, I can't just turn this up because the colors don't match up. So I'm going to put this here so that I can bring this yellow up here to match up with the yellow, and the green will match up with the green. Bring this up, replace it with something else that I'm not worried about quite yet, and then bring this back down. Now when I undo that, you'll see that the yellow and green have lined up, and I can bring this back around, and now that yellow and green is done. Up next, I've got the yellow and orange. I need it to go in this position, so I'm going to bring this around here if I just bring this up in this direction, the colors don't match up. So if I bring this one more turn, now I can bring this up here so that the orange matches the orange and the yellow matches the yellow. But I know that I have my green and yellow already in the correct place. So I don't want to use that in this 3 cycle. I want to leave that just where it is so it stays correct. So I'm going to bring this yellow and orange up to here, bring in either one of these pieces, and then undo that turn. Now I can bring that back, and I've got these 3 that still aren't fixed, but this one back here is done, and this one back here is done. Now in this position, you're going to end up with one of, I think, 4 cases. Either you're going to have a situation where you have all of them complete, where they belong, ready to go. You'll have a situation like this where you've got a 3 cycle. So I can bring this blue and red down to here. I can replace it with the blue and yellow, and then the red and yellow will come up to here. So if I just bring this down, go back up, and go back up, that's a 3 cycle that just fixes all 3 of those. Another position you might have is where you have 2 of these in place but flipped. So let me set that up. It's a fairly quick thing to show you. In this case, you've got this equator where it belongs, but this red and yellow piece is where it belongs, but it's flipped. And this blue and yellow piece is where it belongs, but it's also flipped. This is a easy fix, and this reminds me of a Pyraminx type of thing that kind of accomplishes the exact same thing. What I'm going to do is a 3 cycle and then another 3 cycle in a different direction. So first I'm going to do down, down, up, up. I'm going to bring this over to here where it belongs. Then I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring this back around and then bring this back down. And you see it flipped both of those, kept that where it was. The other situation you can possibly run into is a parity type of situation, where you'll have 2 of these that need to swap position. That is a parity type of situation, and I'm going to set that up so I can show you how to fix it, and hopefully it will be easy to understand. And now we're left with the outside edge parity. This one is a situation where these 2 pieces need to swap. Everything else is correct all around the puzzle, but this outside edge and this outside edge need to swap. Because there's no matter how many 3 cycles or soons or whatever, no matter how many moves you make, you can't just flip those. You can't just swap those. It's not possible. So what you need to do is turn any of your 0 faces 1 turn and then repair the inside edges using an even number of turns. So the way I like to do this is by turning my yellow face 1 turn and then putting my green face on the top. What I need to do here is repair all of these inside edges, and because the green face is a 1 face, I can use it as part of my edge piece series that'll move these. However, if I can help it, I also want to leave as much of the rest of the puzzle solved as possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring this green piece up to here, but I want this orange piece to go to another orange piece if possible. I have more orange back here that I can use. If I just bring this orange piece up like this, it will do exactly what I want it to do. This green piece will go where it belongs, this orange will swap to here, this orange will come down to here, and when I undo the setup move, this will come back up here. But it's also going to mess up some of the outside edges that I've fixed down here on the white face. So the first thing I'm going to do, just to preserve as much of the white face as possible, is I'm going to bring this around on a 0 face, the orange face. I'm going to bring this around like that, putting that yellow and orange here. So now when I bring this up, I haven't risked messing up any of the white that I've already fixed. So from this point, I'm just going to bring this green up to here, bring this around twice, bring this orange down here, and then undo that, And now I'm going to undo the setup moves that I did. So I'm going to bring this back up, and then I'm going to rotate this orange face twice. And you can see that it's left all of my white pieces down here correct. From here, I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. This is almost the exact same parity situation fix as there was on the Venus puzzle. So what I want to do is bring this blue piece to here, I want this red piece to go back to here, and I want this orange piece to come across to here. Now, you can do this in lots of different ways, but if possible, I'd like to do this in one 3-cycle. So what I'd like to do is bring this orange piece up to this position so that when I bring this up, I can bring this over to here and bring this back down. But because this red face is a 0 face, I can't just turn this orange around and bring it up to here. So what I need to do is use a slice move to put a 1 center in this position so that I can rotate this face and turn this inside edge with it. So if I just do an M move and then bring this orange piece around to here, keeping in mind that that's the one I want to fix, now I can bring this up to here. But because this red face is also a 0 face, I can't finish my edge piece series on that face. So from here, what I want to do is bring this green slice and this orange piece up to the top. Now when I do my edge piece series, this blue is going to come here, this red is going to come here, and this orange is going to come here. And then when I undo all of those middle turns and setup moves that I did, it'll have fixed everything. So I'm going to bring this blue up to here, bring this orange around, bring it down, and then bring this back around. Now for my setup moves, I need to bring this whole wide right section down to the back. I need to undo the double turn that I did on this face, and then undo the slice move that I did. And that has fixed all of those. It's also left my white face good, and because of the situation I had on the top with the parity, it has successfully repaired all of those. So next up is a case where you need to start fixing the inside little triangle pieces, these inside corner pieces on all of the faces. This is the exact same 3-cycle type of move that I've been using on the Mercury and the Venus, but because of where your 1 faces are, it does take a little more setup move and kind of creative positioning in order to make things work. So hang on 1 second, we'll get that going. All right, congrats if you've made it this far. Hopefully I've been some kind of help so far. Now we're up to reducing these little inside triangles, the inside corner pieces. To do these, it's the same as it was for Mercury and Venus. We're going to use a variation of the edge piece series as a commutator using the 1 faces to move these little triangles to a new position. The key here is to keep the 1 face and the both 1 faces as the bottom and the back, because you need a 1 face on the bottom to move these little triangles into new positions, and you also need to use 2 0 faces in order to move these into a new position and then swap out pieces. If you use a 1 face in that edge piece series, you're going to end up messing up the inside triangles and the inside edges and outside edges that you've already fixed. So a 1 face as the bottom and a 1 face as the back, so that you're only using 1 face. You only have 0 faces on the right, front, left, and up. You have to have those 0 faces. The first thing I like to do here is to fix all of the inside triangles on the top layer here. So you need to find a color on the bottom that matches the center color that you're trying to repair. So I've got 2 red ones down here and a green one. In order to do this, I have free range to rotate the up face as much as I want, and I can use the 1 faces as setups if I need to. So I've got 2 reds down here, so let's bring the red face over to the blue so that I still have a 0 on the right and the front. Now I'm going to bring this white piece down to the bottom here. This yellow piece is going to move over to here, and this red one is going to come up to here where it needs to go, and then I can undo the setup move. This is very simple. I'm just going to do a down, down, up, up. That brings that down to here, the location. Now I'm going to bring this red piece over to here, underneath where it needs to go, and then undo that series of moves that I did first. So I started on the right first time. This time I'm going to start on the left. So down, down, up, up. And as you can see, it's brought that red piece there. Yellow is swapped to here. When I undo the move that I did on the bottom, the white came here, yellow went here, and the red went up there. So now I can undo that move, and I've got both of those pieces on the top of this red face complete. So let's see what else we got. I've got a green down here. So let's bring the green section around to the front here. I have one green piece that needs to be completed on this green section. So I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to start with the left. Again, I have to make sure that this is a zero face and this is a zero face before I do this. So I'm going to bring this down to the bottom. This yellow one is going to come down here, and this green one is going to come back up to the top where I need it to be. So same thing, just starting on the left this time. Down, down, up, up. That white one is moved down here. I'm going to bring this green one over underneath where it needs to go, and then undo that series of moves that I did first. So down, down, up, up. Undo the move that I did on the bottom, and then I can put this back where it belongs now that all of those greens are put into place. So I've got all the red ones, all the green ones. Still need to fix the oranges. For this, I'm not worried about the yellows quite yet. I'm going to save the yellow and the white faces for last. So just use those as setup moves and kind of to move pieces around as you need to. Now I still have these two orange positions to fix, and I don't have any orange pieces on the bottom. But I do have an orange piece here on the blue face that I'm not worried about. So, since I don't have any blue pieces on the bottom here, let's see if I can do a setup move that'll put something useful down here on the bottom, whether it be an orange triangle or a blue triangle. I've got a blue triangle here, so because this is a zero face, I can turn this without moving any of the pieces on this circle. So I'm just going to turn this front face twice to bring this blue triangle down to the bottom. Now that that setup's done, I have a blue triangle on the white one face. And so I can get this orange to the bottom so that I'll be able to use it to fix the orange face later. If I just bring this down straight to here and then replace it with the blue one, this orange will be in a position that's going to end up on the top after I undo that setup move. So in order to prevent that, first thing I'm going to do is just turn this bottom face one turn to put this blue in a position that's going to stay on the white face. So I'm going to turn this here, and now I'm going to perform that same series that I did and just keep my setup moves in mind so I'll be able to undo those. So I'm going to bring this orange down to here, this red is going to come across to here, and this blue is going to go up to here. Same thing, I need this one to go down, so I'm going to start on the right. So down, down, up, up. Now I'm going to bring this blue one all the way around and then undo that series of moves that I did here, starting on the left this time. So down, down, up, up. So it's repaired that blue little triangle that I was trying to fix first. Now before I undo this setup move on the front, I have to make sure that this blue one belongs here. So I put that back, and then I undo the two turns that I did here. And it's brought that blue one here, move something new up to the yellow face, but I'm not worried about that quite yet. And now I have an orange piece on the white face that I can use to fix one of these two pieces. So I'm just going to bring this orange section over to the front. And both of these are green. I've already completed the green section on the top there, so I'm not too worried about those. So it doesn't matter which one of these I use. I'm just going to bring it down to the bottom. This white one is going to go over to here, and this orange one is going to come up to the position it needs to be in. So down, down, up, up. Bring this orange one underneath where it belongs, and undo that series of moves. Now I'm going to undo the move that I did down here to repair those edges, and bring that orange back over to the orange face where it belongs. Let's see what else we've got here. All right, I don't have any more orange pieces down here on the white face. So I'm going to have to use a setup move to get an orange one down there that I'll be able to use. So first things first, I'm just going to bring this orange section over to the blue face, because I know that that's where I want it to be in order to use it for this commutator. Let's see here. I have an orange piece here on the yellow face, I've got an orange piece here on the red face, and I've got an orange piece back here on the green face. I can use any of those, but let's see which one's going to be the easiest commutator to work with. Well, because I'm taking a green piece out of this section here, and it's going to the white face, I'm not worried about trying to repair anything there. So if I just turn this red piece here down to the bottom, this orange piece will be on the bottom layer, and I won't have to do any setups on the bottom in order to figure out which piece I'm trying to move and replace. So I'm just going to turn this orange one from the red face down to the bottom, so now it's there, and now I can move this green one from this orange section down to here. This white one will come across to here, and this orange one will come up to here. I just have to remember my setup moves so that I can undo things correctly. So let's start here. We're going to bring this down first. So down, down, up, up. Bring this orange one across underneath where I need it to go. I started on the left, so let's go here. Down, down, up, up to undo those. Now I need to bring this back because I did that down move. And now I need to undo this move first so that the red piece comes back up to here. And then undo this move. And now I've got one blue piece left to fix. So let's see what I can do here. I can do a very similar setup move to what I did a second ago. I can bring this blue piece down to the bottom face by turning the front face, because this is a 0, it doesn't affect any of these pieces that I'm looking to keep where they are. So I'm just going to turn that down. But here I have to be mindful because this orange piece is correct. I don't want to take this orange piece out of position. So I'm going to turn that blue piece that I'm looking to put up to here down to the bottom, and now I'm going to get this section out of the way before I perform that series of moves. So I'm just going to turn this down this direction. So now when I do that, it's going to bring this yellow from the blue face down to here. This yellow is going to come across to here, and this blue is going to come up to here. And it's not going to interrupt anything on the orange face. It's already correct. So just down, down, up, up. Bring this blue around underneath where I need it to go. And then undo that series of moves here. And now I just have to put things back where they need to go. So this blue needs to go onto the blue face, and I can undo the turn that I did on the front to put that blue piece into position. Now I've got all of the little triangles on the tops of each one of these faces complete. Again, I'm not worried about the yellow ones yet, and I'm not worried about the white ones yet. So now I need to get the little triangles on the bottoms of each one of these faces. In order to do this, I need to use a different setup move, but that's pretty easy as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is just turn the puzzle over so that yellow is my bottom. Now, I still have green as the back, which I know is a 1 face, so I'm going to keep that as a back. But now I have white on top, which is my other 1 face, which means I can't use it on the bottom to rotate these pieces and move them into new positions. But I also have the ability to move the middle slice, and when I do that, it'll move the centers into new positions and therefore changing the faces to different face. So I can either, if I move this middle slice this way, now this top face is a 0, and this bottom face, because the green is now on the bottom, is a 1 face. So I'll be using that middle slice for almost every single one of these in order to set up the faces before I perform the algorithm, so that I can still have the ability to move these little triangles around on the bottom. And this is quite literally exactly the same as it was a second ago, just with that middle slice added in order to move the faces. This can be a little harder to keep track of because you change colors and just makes things look a little different before you do that move. But you just have to kind of watch what you're doing and keep track of your setup moves and the moves that you perform during the algorithm. So let's get started here. Down here I've got a red and an orange. I need to fix 2 of the orange pieces. I need to fix 2 of the red pieces. So it doesn't matter which one of these I use. I'm going to bring the orange over here. Now, here's where I just have to keep track of things. I've brought the orange over here. Now, in order to turn this yellow face into a 1 face that I can use in this algorithm, I'm going to do an M inverse. That way it moves the green center down to the bottom. Now I'm still trying to repair this blue piece here because I know that that's needs to be orange. So with this M inverse, now I'm going to perform the move. It's going to move this blue piece down to here. This white piece is going to come here, and this orange piece is going to come up to here. And then I just undo my setup moves. So first things first, I'm just going to go down, down, up, up. Now I'm going to move this orange piece over here underneath where it needs to go, and then undo those moves. So down, down, up, up. Now I just have to be careful. I know that I need to undo this move on the bottom so that I have a line in the middle here of my yellow. And then I need to undo this M turn, bring that back down, and then undo the turn on the top that I did. So now all of my centers are back where they belong, but I've repaired this orange piece. And it really doesn't get much more complicated than that. You just have to take advantage of being able to move that M slice in the direction you need it to go to create a 1 face on the bottom before you perform those algorithms. So let me go ahead and finish these off, and if I have any extra tips, I'll come back with those during the next few steps here. I decided it would make more sense if I just finished all of these and give you the chance to skip forward if you want to. So I'm just going to keep going here. These red ones, I'm looking to repair both of these, so I'm going to bring them over to the blue face. I've still got white on top, yellow on the bottom, so I'm just going to bring these over to the blue face. And the reason I do that is so that I can still use a 0 face on the right, a 0 face on the front, and a 0 face on the left, even after I do that M turn. So I've got to repair both of these. I have 1 red piece down here on the bottom. So let's go ahead and use this blue piece down here, move it down here to the bottom, since I know that I'll need those to be to help repair this blue face. So the first thing I need to do is just kind of figure out what I'm going to move. I'm going to move this blue one down to here. This blue one is going to come across to here, and this red one is going to come up to here. Now that I've got kind of my eyes on that, I'm going to do my M inverse to bring a 1 face to the bottom. And now I'm going to perform the moves starting on the right here. So down, down, up, up. Move this red over to here, underneath where I need it to go, and then undo those moves. So down, down, up, up. Now I'm going to bring this bottom face back so that I have the yellow line here. It's a great way of keeping track of this now that you've done those. Now that you've done that M slice. Now I'm going to bring this M back down. Got that red piece in place, and I'm just going to bring this back over. Now let's take a look at the bottom. Well, now I've got 2 blue pieces down here on the bottom and 2 blue sections here that need to be fixed. So that works out really well. So from here, all I need to do is this M inverse, bring that down. Now I've got a 1 face on the bottom, and I know that both of these need to be fixed. So I'm just going to bring this one down here, This blue one is going to come across to here, and this blue one is going to go up to here. So for this, it's just down, down, up, up. Bring this blue one over to here, underneath where I need it to go, and undo that first step that I did. It's brought that blue one up to here, undo the turn that I did down here, and now, just to keep myself kind of sane, I'm going to bring this yellow back down to the bottom with an M turn, just like that. So now I've fixed that blue. This blue here needs to go straight up to here. So in order to do that, I'm going to have to move it out of the way first to perform the first set of moves so that I can bring this red piece down to an empty slot before I bring this blue one back up to here. So you can either just save this and move it later, or hope that it gets moved, especially if you have other colors down here that need to fix. Or in this situation, since the blue piece is the only one that I have down here that needs to go up to any other faces, I'm going to do my M inverse turn. Now I've got a one face here on the bottom. Now I'm going to turn this blue piece off to another position so that I can move this red one down to one of these spots and then move the blue one back up to here. So I'm just going to turn this off like this, keeping track of what I've moved. Now I'm going to bring this red one down to this position. This white one is going to come across to here, and this blue one is going to come up to here. So down, down, up, up. Bring this blue one over to here, underneath where I need it to go, and undo those moves. I started on the left before, so down, down, up, up. Brought my yellow line back in place so I can just undo that M turn that I did. And now all of my blues are complete. So now down here I've got one red piece that I can use. So here I'm just going to bring this red section over to the front, and this isn't in the way of anything, so I can just do my M inverse turn to set up a one face on the bottom. And now I need to put red here. So I need to go down, down, up, up. Bring this new red one underneath where it needs to go, and then undo that series of moves. Down, down, up, up. Brought that red one in. Now I have to undo the turn that I did here on the bottom. Gives me my yellow line back, and now I can undo my M turn. And then just move this red section that's now complete back over to the red face. So I've got all of these reds done, all of these blues done. Got one orange here that needs done, and two greens that need taken care of. So now down here on the bottom, I don't have any colors that I'm looking to work with. Everything down here is either white or yellow, which I'm not worried about fixing quite yet. So there's a lot of different approaches here, but you will have to use some creative setup moves. The two greens that I'm looking to use to repair this green section are both on top on the white face. So for me, the way I would approach this is I would just turn both of these down with a 2 front turn. So I'm going to bring these down to the bottom as my first setup move. Now both of those are down here. Now I can bring the green section onto the front face with a 2U. And now I can approach this the same way that I did for the blue pieces that I just fixed. First thing I'm going to do is just do the M inverse to bring the one face down to the bottom. So now I can use this. And I just have to be mindful that both of these need to be green. I have to make a point of remembering that. So it doesn't matter which one I start with here. I'm going to start with this orange one. Orange is going to come down here. This green is going to come across to here. And this green one is going to come up to here. So down, down, up, up. Bring this green one underneath where I need it to go, and undo that first set of moves. So down, down, up, up. Now I'm going to bring this back over to here. Remembering my setup moves, I did the M slice last, so I'm going to undo that M slice. I'm going to bring this green all the way back around to the back, and then undo this front turn. That's just you don't have to do that. If you can keep track of your setup moves really well, you can just leave things and continue fixing stuff and then undo your setup moves after you've repaired as much as you can. But this was just to keep things easy to follow here. So now I've still got the one orange piece here that I need to fix, and I've now got one green that I need to repair. So let's go ahead and fix this other green piece. I'm going to do the exact same set of setup moves. I'm just going to bring this down to the bottom. So now that green piece is down here. I'm going to bring this green section up here to the front, and I'm going to bring a one face down to the bottom. So that M inverse turn. So now I have a one face down here. But here I have to make a point of moving this green piece out of the way first, because I need this green one to come up to here. So I'm just going to do a down inverse turn. So now I can bring this yellow down to here, this white is going to come across to here, and this green is going to come up to here, and then undo all of my setup moves. So let's go down, down, up, up. I'm going to bring this green one underneath where I want it to go. Down, down, up, up. Let's fix that. Now I need to undo my M turn that I did. Next, I need to undo the 2U turn that I did to bring that green one to the front. And lastly, I need to undo the 2F turn that I did. That fixed everything, and now all I've got left to repair is this one orange corner. All of these are done, all of the reds, all of the blues. So this last orange one is also going to be a little tricky, but it's not too difficult here. So I'm going to bring this orange section over to the front. Now here, because this is still a zero face, I just need to bring this orange one down to the bottom. So take that around just like that. I'm still looking to repair this piece, so I can now use this orange in a 3-cycle. And I'm going to do the M inverse turn to bring a one face down to the bottom. Now that all that's done, I just have to keep track of what I'm looking for here. I know that this piece needs to come down here. This yellow one is going to come across to here, and this orange one is going to come up to here. So down, down, up, up. Bring this orange one underneath where I need it to go, and undo that set of moves that I just did. Down, down, up, up. I think I may have done that backwards. No, I hadn't. Okay. Sorry, second guessing myself there. So I can bring this back over to here, get that yellow. Now I have to undo the M turn that I did to bring that back. And now I have to undo the double turn that I did on the front face. And now it's completed that orange section. So you can see there that it's easy to get yourself confused, especially if you're just not paying attention, and after you've done a handful of setup moves, it's easy to kind of get lost and not be able to keep track of things. But once you've done it a few times and can kind of see what's moving and how things are going, it's not too difficult to realize if you've made a mistake or not. So the last couple pieces we have to fix here are the whites and the yellows. To do this, I'm going to put white back on the bottom so I don't have to do the setup move in order to have a one face on the bottom. And I'm still going to keep green in the back. For this, you just have to make sure that when you do a setup move to bring these empty yellow slots into the front face in order to use them, that you're not messing up anything down here that you need in order to fix those. So for example, if I just turn this down to here, now I have a white piece here that needs to be yellow so that I can bring this down here and then replace it with a yellow. But I've also got to be mindful of this section because this is already complete. I don't want to mess this up. So I'm going to move this blue section out of the way first. Now I can do a move here that's going to bring this white one to here. This yellow one is going to come across to here. And this yellow one is going to come back up to here where it needs to go. So I'm just going to go down, down, up, up. Bring this new yellow one underneath where I want it to be. Undo that series of moves. And then undo the moves that I've done on the bottom face, so that when I undo that right turn, this blue one will come back up to where it belongs, just like that. And now I've only got one empty slot up here on the yellow that needs to be fixed, and one slot down here on the bottom of the white that needs to be fixed. Now I can't just bring this down to here, because then I can't use it in that series that I've been using. But if I bring it down to the left face, it puts it on top. So if I bring it to the left and then to the front, now I can use it in the series that I've been using in order to fix. I just have to remember, even though it's sitting with an orange set, it actually needs to be yellow. So I just have to keep track of which color I want to put there. Another situation here where I can't leave this orange section in this position because it'll replace one of these orange pieces with a white piece, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to do a setup move down here on the bottom. So now that this white piece can come down to here, this white piece can come across to here, and this yellow piece can come up to here. So just keeping track of my setup moves there. Now I'm going to go down, down, up, up, bring this yellow one underneath where I need it to go, and undo that down, down, up, up. Now here, let's see. I can bring this white face around to get as much lined up as I can. Now I need to bring this orange section. I need to first take a look at the top face because I know I did a turn on the top. I need to make sure that my outside edges line back up with the inside edges on this top face. So like that. And now that's all correct, and I can undo this front turn that I did. And after doing all of that, setup moves and fun stuff, all of my inside circles are complete. All of these little triangles are done, and I haven't messed up any of the outside edges or inside edges that I had correct before. So that's probably the hardest step just because of the setup moves that are needed and keeping track of where things need to go. But because the algorithm and commutator that you use isn't very difficult, and it's easy to see what pieces are going to move and where they're going to go, it can be pretty easy to keep track of. But the setup moves is just the hardest part, especially when you're first trying to figure this out. So the final step here is going to be fixing these corners, and for that we're just going to use the standard corner piece series that's going to move corner from here back to here, this corner from here back to here, and this corner back over to here, or the left-hand version that's going to go here to here to here, and then back to here. In order to do this correctly, you need to have a white face or a zero face on top, a zero face on the right, which I currently don't, and a zero face on the left, which I do. So in order to make that happen, I just need to put this green face on the back and the one face, the white one face on the bottom. So now I have a zero face on top, a zero face on the right, and a zero face on the left. I can use the one faces for setup moves, but I cannot use them in the corner piece series when I'm actually performing the algorithm. In doing this, I'm also going to try and put these in place correctly oriented if I can, at least for the bottom. But that's not necessary. You can fix orientation later if you need to. I can also turn the puzzle around 180 with green on the front because it still leaves me with a 0 on the right, up, and left. So using that, I'm going to try and place all of the white corners in place and correctly oriented. So let's see what I've got here. I've got the white, orange, and blue here. This needs to come down to here. If I line this orange section of this orange corner up with the orange face, I know that I can bring this directly into position. I can bring this straight down where it belongs. So let's go ahead and put the blue face as the back, green face as the front, and then put the orange of this orange, white, and blue corner lined up with the orange face. Now if I bring this down here, like that, now if I do a corner piece series using a 2R as my first turn, it'll bring this white back to here, which is where I need it to be. That'll line up with the white there. So I'm just going to go right, right, up inverse, left inverse, up, right, right, up inverse, left, up, And then the setup move that I did was just a regular right turn. And you can see it's put that blue, orange, and white corner in place where it belongs. Undo the setup move that I did on the U face there. Let's see what else we've got. Here's the left-handed version of what I just did. So I'm going to put the blue face as my front, with still my red and orange and yellows as my up front, or up, left, and right. I'm going to line this orange of the orange, white, and green corner up with the orange face. And now I can see that if I bring this piece, the position that I need it to go to, up to the top, if I do that corner piece series with a 2L, it's going to bring this white back to here, which is where I need it to go. So I'm just going to go left, left, up, right, up inverse, left, left, up, right inverse, up inverse. And now I can undo my setup move that I did, and that corner piece is in place where it belongs. So undo that. Now here I don't have any more white corner pieces on the top face, and these two corners are not in the correct places. So what I'm going to do is just bring both of these to the top and perform a corner piece series to move one of them out of place. It's going to move this one over to here. This one is going to come across to here, remaining on the top face, and this one's going to come here. So it's actually going to place this blue, red, and white one where it belongs and get this green, red, and white over here so that I'll be able to use it. So this is just right, up inverse, left inverse, up, right inverse, up inverse, left, up. And now I can undo the setup move that I did there. Now that red, white, and blue is on the bottom correct. It's in the correct place, but it's not oriented correctly. I'll fix that later. Now I have the green, red, and white up here on the top. This one here, if I line the red up with the red face, I can see that if I bring the position up to the top, now if I do the corner piece series with a 2R, this white will come to the back, which is where I need it to go. So now I just go right, right, up inverse, left inverse, up, right, right, up inverse, left, up. Undo my setup move, and now that corner piece is where it belongs. And last but not least, let's see if we have anything up here in the correct place. To fix these these yellow ones, I'm just going to put them where they belong and worry about orientation last. Still being mindful to keep 0 faces as my right, my up, and my left. So none of these are where they belong, so I'm just going to place one first. If I perform a left-hand corner piece series, it's going to bring this piece to here. This red, yellow, and green will come across to here, which is where it needs to go. So let's perform that first. So left inverse, up, right, up inverse, left, up, right inverse, up inverse. So now that red, yellow, and green is where it belongs, and I should have just a single 3 cycle left to do. So this needs to go here, this needs to go back to here, and this needs to come across to here. So I'm going to set this up with a left-hand corner piece series and just do one. It's going to go left inverse, up, right, up inverse, left, up, right inverse, up inverse, and then undo my setup move. And now I've got all of my corners sitting in the right place, and they just need to be oriented correctly. So we'll handle that in 1 second. And now we just have to orient the corners where they sit. They're all in the right place, but I've got a few of them that just need to rotate where they sit. If you remember from a couple of my other videos, if you have a corner piece on the front left that needs to rotate counterclockwise, and a corner piece on the back left that needs to rotate clockwise, if you do a regular Soon algorithm followed by a left-hand Soon algorithm, it'll rotate both of those in place, and it won't mess up anything else. So if I just go right, up, right inverse, up, right, up, right inverse, followed by left inverse, left, up inverse, left inverse, up, up, left. It rotates those in position, didn't mess anything else up. Same thing works here. You just have to still be mindful to always use zero faces because I don't want to move any of the inside corners, these little triangles. I don't want to rotate any of those. So if I just do the soon algorithm using zero face on the right, zero face on the up, and a zero face on the left, it'll just rotate these outside corners. So let's see what we've got going here. This corner piece here needs to rotate clockwise, and this corner piece here needs to rotate clockwise as well. So I know that if I put this into this position and perform that soon and left-hand soon, it'll fix this one because it rotates this piece clockwise. So I'm just going to do a setup move to move that into that position. Now if I perform my soon and my left-hand soon, so right, up, right inverse, up, right, up, right inverse, followed by left inverse, up inverse, left, up inverse, left inverse, up, left. You can see it's rotated that corner and now it's correct, and I just have to undo my setup move. So now I've got this corner that needs to rotate counterclockwise, which it can do from this position, and this corner down here, which needs to rotate clockwise. So the easiest way for me to get this corner up to this position is going to be just either a double setup move, or I can turn the whole puzzle this way and do another couple of setup moves. So it doesn't really matter. There's just a creative way of doing this no matter how you do it. For this, I'm just going to rotate this piece back to here and then do another setup move to bring it over to here. So 2R and then a back turn. So now, keeping track of those setup moves, if I do the soon and the left-hand soon, it'll rotate this one counterclockwise, it'll rotate this one clockwise. So again, right, up, right inverse, up, right, up, right inverse, and then left inverse, up inverse, left, up inverse, left inverse, up, left. And then undo my setup moves. So turn the back face and then 2R here. And there you have it. Everything is back where it belongs and oriented correctly. Like I said at the beginning, this is probably my favorite puzzle in the series, but the entire series of these crazy 3x3s are a lot of fun, and I hope this has been at least a little bit of help for you. So, as always, happy solving.